Okay, so how exactly do you roll your existing covered calls and cash secured put options? And of course, more importantly, how do you do it correctly? How to do it for a net credit versus a net debit? When is it okay to actually roll for a net debit and actually cost you money instead of making more? In this video, I'll break down for you a few different examples. We'll talk about what a rolling an option actually is, some situations where it makes sense to roll for a credit, and circumstances where it makes sense to roll for a debit as well. All right, you guys are looking at my Fidelity Brokerage Platform here. And before we jump into some examples, let's just make sure we're on the same page with what rolling an option actually is. From the context of a covered call, meaning you own a stock and you have written a covered call, you've sold a call option. If you're rolling that option, you are simultaneously buying that option back for whatever the market price is, and at the exact same time you're selling a brand new covered call. Within the context of a cash secured put, you had previously sold a put option with cash in your account as your reserve, and then at the same time you are buying that put option back for whatever the market price is and selling a brand new put option. So the best way to look at this would be to look at an example. I've got my Bank of America position and my Bank of America $30 covered call option. Breaking this down, it's a $30 strike call option, which expires on September the 8th, 2023. Current market price is 3 cents or $3 total for this option. So let's say we were looking to roll this option. Within the Fidelity desktop platform, you can come in here, click on the option, and click on either buy to close or sell to open, and roll. Remember that when we sold this option initially, we sold it to open, so we'd want to buy to close if we wanted to close it. Let's click on the roll button. You'll notice when you click the roll option, it automatically gives you the initial action of buy to close, because it's how you get rid of your existing position, and then simultaneously you will sell to open. Now when it comes to actually rolling the option, you need to identify, well, what is the new covered call option I want to have in place? Do I want to stick with the same strike price? And how far out do I want to go? We need to go out into the future. When we first talk about the idea of which expiration, we're not going to go backwards in time. We're unlikely to stick with the same expiration date, but let's assume we want to roll out to the 15th. This is known as rolling out because you're rolling out to a new date, further out in time. If you found yourself in a situation where you were going to roll in, you would roll from the 8th down to the 1st. But in this case, we would be rolling out to a new expiration date further out in time. And then we need to pick a strike price. Are we going to stick with our $30 strike price? Do we want to go closer towards the market price? Or do we want to go further out? If we're rolling out further, okay, from let's say 30 to 31, that would be known as rolling up on your strike price. And if you're going to roll from 30 down to 29, that'd be rolling down to the $29 strike price. Let's just say I wanted to keep it even and stick with the $30 strike price. In this situation, I would be rolling out to the 15th and sticking with the same strike price. And you'll notice that Fidelity automatically nets it out for you. The existing option, market price is between 2 and 3 cents per share, and the current market price for the new option for the 15th is between 9 and 10. As a result, you'd be rolling in this situation for a net credit, somewhere between 6, 7, and 8 cents per share. If you click on, let's say, the midpoint right here, it will automatically fill in for you 7 cents. And since I have 2 contracts, it would be a net credit after a 90-cent fee of $13.10. To understand the idea of a net debit, let's go over to my existing SPY S&P 500 covered call. Current price is $4.51, and my existing covered call is at $4.50, which is my cost basis. This option doesn't expire until the 11th. So let's take a look here and let's look at rolling this option. Here's the existing option I would be closing. The market price is $3.31 per share, or $331. Let's say we wanted to roll in as opposed to out. Let's say we wanted to roll in to the 8th, okay, instead of the 11th. And I wanted to stick with the same strike price, $4.50. You'll notice here that in this situation, the market price for my existing option is $3.31, but the new market price for my new option is actually lower at only $2.99. In other words, the net is a net debit in this specific scenario with a net debit of 33 cents, which would cost me $33.65 if I wanted to roll in in this situation? Most of the time, Fidelity will automatically calculate this for you, net credit and net debit, based on the options you choose up here. Generally, as a rule of thumb, you want to be able to roll options for a net credit. You want to be able to capture more option premium if you're rolling your option, but it doesn't always make sense, and nor is it even possible to do in some instances. For example, I had a previous S&P 500 covered call position. The contract I owned was for a strike price of 446 expiring that day, but the market price was 450, so I was deep in the money. So what I had looked to do was roll the option, but I couldn't get any type of a credit. So I was in a predicament where I could get assigned on my existing position at 446, but my cost basis was 450, which means I was going to lose $400 if I let the option get assigned. Here's the math. $446 strike price times 100 is $44,600 that I'd receive, but my cost basis was $45,000. The difference there is $400. That'd be a loss. However, instead of letting myself get assigned at 446, I instead took a different path. Here are the two transactions that occurred on the 31st. You'll notice that my 446, the cost to actually close this option was $550.68 when you include fees. And I rolled this option from September 1st out to September 11th. I also rolled up on my strike price from 446 to 450, which was my cost basis. To do that, you'll notice there was a difference here. It cost me $550.68 to buy back the original option, and I received $396.32 to actually sell the new option out to the 11th for $450 at my basis. Negative $550.68 plus what I received, $396.32. So it was a net debit of $154.36. But hold on a second. Remember, I was deep in the money below my cost basis, and I was set to, if I got assigned at 446, it would have been a loss, remember, of $400. I eliminated that loss because I was able to increase my strike price from 446 to 450, and instead of that costing me $400, it only cost me $154. And that's one of the roadblocks that we have as investors at times. We think, I don't want to roll for a debit. I don't want to roll for a debit. But in this situation, I was able to achieve a net positive on cash flow of $400, and it only cost me $154 to do that. In every other aspect of life, when would we not make that trade? So I decided to let go of the idea of not rolling for a debit, and I did it, and that ended up being a really good decision. Hopefully you found some value in this video, guys. Make sure to leave your 2 cents down in the comments below. It's my goal to respond to all comments left on the day I post a new video. If there are other questions specific to rolling options that you guys have, make sure to leave those in the comments as well. That's all I got for you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.